Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Destination Dynasty here on the High Stakes Sports Debates Network. My name is Tom Jude, and guess what? It's Halloween, folks. So happy Halloween to you guys out there. Be safe, have fun, get ripped, all that awesome stuff. It's Halloween, guys. Enjoy it the way you guys do. But don't forget to start your Halloween off with some Dynasty information. And today we are talking about patience. Because patience is such a huge factor in Dynasty fantasy football. Again, we talked about it. I'm going to reiterate to you guys. This is a long-term play. So you're playing for next year. You're playing for the year after. You know, like this is something that usually doesn't end. Some people put, time limits on their dynasty. For example, one of the dynasty leagues I'm in is a 10-year run. So, whoever has the most championships at the end of those 10 years technically wins the dynasty. So, as you could tell real quick, I'm trying a new angle, trying to get a little creative with this. I might revert back to for the fantasy first segments, but I think this is okay right now. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, if I should change it or keep it the way it is. But let's dive into the content here, guys. Patience. I know it's hard. I suffer from it myself. Patience is such a huge factor when playing Dynasty Fantasy Football. For example, I'm sure somebody out there used a top 4 Dynasty investment on Melvin Gordon, running back from Wisconsin, drafted by the San Diego Chargers. Obviously, we know they traded up for this kid 2 spots. They wanted to put help behind Phillip Rivers. They wanted to take a little bit of pressure off of his back. So what did the team do? GM Tom Telesco, he said, okay, we're going to try to get you help. We gave you Gordon. So here we are. Week 7, Gordon doesn't look very good. Gordon's been indecisive when hitting the hole. Gordon also is suffering behind an offensive line right now that is decimated with injuries. So I'm sure there are some panicky owners out there that are already looking to sell, and you just can't do that. You just can't do that. I know because, listen, we live in an NFL today where it's win right now. What have you done for me lately? You ask yourself, any GM of any fantasy team, whether it's redraft or dynasty, after a couple games, it's like they're looking to sell if they're not getting the results they like. Ask any owner of week 1 who freaked out over Carlos Hyde. Oh, yeah, 30 points. Woo! And then it's, Carlos Hyde has been delegated to probably a high-end RB3, low-end RB2 at best. So, again, patience. Right now, guys that I have to be patient on. In my personal Dynasty League, like I said, and we talked about this in the last video, you build around receivers. And again, just to reiterate one more time, this is all PPR talk. If you're not playing PPR, you're just not doing Dynasty right. So right now I'm working with Calvin Johnson, Demaryius Thomas, and my flex options, Martavis Bryant. Those are kind of my every week, guys that I trot out there, my top flight receivers. I do happen to be fortunate enough to be built around Rob Gronkowski. I would consider that my franchise. Again, when we did our startup, this is the first year we drafted rookies. So 2014 we did our startup, and Gronk was coming back from the ACL, so I was fortunate enough to get Gronkowski on a value. You're not going to be able to get Gronkowski on a value anymore. If you did your startup draft going into 2016 with 27-year-old Rob Gronkowski, you're probably paying a mid-first rounder for Gronk. So I happen to be fortunate enough to be built around catches there with my 3 wide receivers as well as Rob Gronkowski. But now getting off of that, these are the guys I personally have to stay patient with. I've got Jordan Matthews in a PPR. I won the league last year, so I picked 12th. Brashad Perryman fell to me. Obviously, I didn't think he was going to be hurt. I thought he would be, the number 2 in Mark Cressman's system, and, he hasn't been able to get on the field. He's probably not going to get on the field, so that's another guy I've got to be patient with. I recently acquired Philip Dorsett in a trade where I traded away Charkandrick West. Yes, Charkandrick's a starter, but I felt that my future would be more beneficial and, have more longevity with a guy like Philip Dorsett. He does have Andrew Luck upside for the future. I know there's a lot of targets there, but at a certain point, Moncrief will be a free agent. Andre Johnson looks like he should be cut at the end of this year, if you ask me personally. Outside of that one Houston game, which clearly the game plan was, let's force the ball to Andre. You have to think that. When I'm looking at my dynasty roster, I also have guys, running backs on there that are, kind of wait and see. A Cameron Artis-Payne, if a Jonathan Stewart gets hurt. I got a Christine Michael for the occasion if Darren McFadden ends up getting hurt, which we know he will. I'm a Giants fan, so I have to have Andre Williams on my roster. I just love the way he trucks people. But again, a lot of these guys that I'm mentioning require patience. And everybody wants to jump ship when their team is, they're 2 games under 500 or even 3 games. And we all know what the slogan of Dynasty football is. It's, in Dynasty, when you're losing, you're really winning, because ask yourself this. If you did your startup last year or just before this year happened, right? If you lost, hey, look, you had an opportunity at an Amari Cooper, Todd Gurley. I mean, again, we know Melvin Gordon isn't Gurley right now, but you got to stay patient as team will continue to build. Kevin White's probably not going to see the field, but hey, you have him for his future in the NFL at age 24. So, again, there's a lot of guys that you got to be patient with, and I can't drill this into your head enough. Be patient. Unless you feel like, throwing the house to someone is going to help you win a championship, because honestly, the point of Dynasty Fantasy Football is winning championships. Nobody remembers second place, third place. Nobody remembers that. I can guarantee you that. But everybody remembers a champion. So this week right here, week 7, week 8, week 9 that we're in, it's time to assess whether you feel like you can compete or whether you need to stay patient and build for next year. I started 1-3 in my Dynasty League. Again, Calvin had some tough matchups. Demarius has been suffering from Peyton Manning play. Russell Wilson hasn't been Russell Wilson of last year behind that offensive line, but I stayed patient. I said, I think that the talent on my roster can help me get to the playoffs, and ultimately right now I won the last 3. I'm feeling pretty good. I might not be a 2 seed with a bye like I was last year, but I still think I can make some noise. And for those people out there who play Dynasty, who are interested in playing Dynasty, these are the types of things you have to do as a general manager. Again, we talked about it in the last episode. Dynasty is all about making you a general manager. This isn't a 1-year league where you're playing with your friends. Again, you're running a Dynasty team. You are building a competitive roster to compete for the right now as well as tomorrow. So, again, the word patience. I know it's so hard in today's NFL. And again, I'm right there with you, struggling with patience. But it's what you need. I'll admit, my league is very trade-centric, and just, to foreshadow here, that's going to be the next episode of Destination Dynasty. We're going to talk about trading, because trading is a huge, huge factor in playing Dynasty football, and I'll drop a little line here. If you don't hit on your draft picks, there's only one way to get better, and that's trading. So, again, a proven commodity is always better than a question mark. Remember that. A proven commodity is always better than a question mark. So, and eventually we'll get into overvaluing age and stuff like that, but I just wanted to take some time to let you guys know that you have to be patient. It's a game where if you don't have patience, you're going to get so addicted to trading, you're going to trade all your talent away, and then you're going to be right back in rebuild mode. And the irony is, you're going to have to be patient anyways and wait for your prospects to develop. So, when we look at patience in Dynasty Fantasy Football, it's something that we really have to value. You can't let a 3-game stretch of like less than 10 points deter you from keeping this guy on your roster. I mean, I'm not trading Jordan Matthews unless I got a solid young receiver or running back that had promise in return. I mean, yeah, Jordan Matthews has had a case of the drops, but apparently there's a ligament issue with his hand now. The kid's 23 years old. Why am I looking to ship this guy out? Des Bryant didn't become Des Bryant till his second, third year. You have to have patience. Again, that's what this game's all about. So you look at week 7, 8, and 9 are crucial weeks. If you don't feel like you have a legitimate opportunity to win a title or at least steal a 6 seed and maybe make some noise because you've got good matchups, speaking of which, now's the time to start looking ahead to those matchups that you have in the playoffs. If you don't feel like your players can get it done, it's time to start selling for future draft picks, being more patient. Because again, you could have the next Amari Cooper. You could have the next Todd Gurley. I mean, I'm in a league with my girlfriend right now, and, she barely missed the playoffs last year, and now she's got Todd Gurley on her roster with an Antonio Brown, with an Alshon Jeffrey. You put Big Ben on top of that. She made a trade for DeMarco Murray, who's hit and miss right now, and we all understand that, but Todd Gurley, man, put her roster over the top. She might be in the playoffs this year. Matter of fact, I think she will, so you have to stay patient with your draft picks, folks. Patience. Patience. Patience! And I got to take my own advice, so thank you guys for watching this latest episode of Destination Dynasty. I'm going to have a fantasy first episode rolling out pretty soon. We're going to talk about trades because now's the time to start making trades in redraft. It's time to start gearing up for that postseason run. Also, if you haven't, check out the podcast. Again, it kind of supplements this content. That's where more of your start sit advice, streaming information will be during the week. You can check out the link below. It's on iTunes. We're on Stitcher. You just search high stakes sports debates. Also, the debate topics are going to start getting rolling pretty soon. If you haven't follow us on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're going to get on Facebook pretty soon. So we'll get you all the information you need to be successful in your fantasy football leagues. And eventually when baseball starts up, we'll be doing that as well. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Destination Dynasty. I was your host, Tom Jude. We'll see you here next time. High stakes sports debates.